right, everybody. Is everyone there? We have the VP team.
Yes,
Indeed.
I'm right here.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. I'm Butch Hartman. Welcome to the Vision Possible live Q&A for the month of July 2022. With me, I have my special guests. I shouldn't say my special guests, my special parts of the team. Ryan Haley. Hey, Ryan. Okay, if you can't guess who Ryan is, he's got the beard. And the other person on the far right of my screen, at least, is the beautiful, gorgeous woman who's been married to me for 30 years, Julianne Hartman. Hi, Julianne.
Hi.
Right now, everyone. Now I'm running this now, so everyone can see me and hear me, and we can all hear each other. Correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
That's really all that matters because I
Yep.
want to make sure that it's all working. We had to have a little disclaimer. We do not have Nathaniel Spears with us tonight because Nathaniel has other very important business to attend to. He's like trying to run some country or something, I think. Hey guys, I have another special guest joining us. It's the amazing Carly Hartman. She's here.
Hey, there she is.
Carly,
Hello.
thanks for joining us. Carly, we know that you have a lot of things to do in your life, but none of us do. We sit here all
So do
month.
you guys.
Yeah, we sit here all month waiting for the broadcast to happen.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
so we're excited to be here. Hey, and this is kind of cool. Julianne and I are actually in California in two separate locations. Here's my my office with all my artwork and fun stuff. And Carly's in Tennessee. And Ryan, where are you?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. How now? It's not snowing there now, is it? Normally, it can snow any time. I know.
No, it's been in the high 90s all week.
Wow.
Hey, it has been. Hey, Ryan, I got a question for you, and let me see if I got some comments from the audience already. Oh, the Living Blue Jay is here. Hannah Yang is here.
Hi.
And, yes. And I said earlier that Nathaniel Spears isn't here because he's running a country. I'm
Running
sure
a country. Yeah.
he's probably having the inhabitants build a statue of him, which is what I would do. Hey, but Ryan, I got a question for you, and I'm sure our audience has the same question. What's going on with the markets lately?
Well, it's been like I've been trying to say for the last 6 to 12 months. Nobody wanted to hear it back then, but I think we're just seeing, what goes up must come down. And we've had, just all kinds of crazy things that have been fueling really artificially the real estate and stock markets for the last, couple of years, particularly since COVID. And now I think finally the sugar high, if you will, is wearing off, and interest rates are normalizing, and there's just a lot of adjustments happening. And even then, I hate to say it, I think the S&P 500 still probably could drop 50% just to get back to fair value. I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying if you look at historic trends, that would not be unprecedented.
Well, it's interesting. I looked at Twitter stock today, and I looked at Disney stock today. And it really was like this. It like fell off a cliff. They both fell off a cliff. And you're like, wow, that's kind of interesting because I know that Disney's been going through some stuff and Twitter's been going through some stuff. We're just going to leave it right there. But so things, like you said, what goes up must come down. Does that affect the real estate market, Ryan?
I don't think that they are necessarily related, although you could make that argument. But I think what's happening that's affecting both pretty much everything is you've got interest rates, mortgage rates have more than doubled in the last 6 months, which is making a lot of people not able to afford houses that they could at those crazy low interest rates. You've got house prices that have appreciated, sometimes 50% or more in 2 years. And at the same time, you've now got a lot of inflationary pressures. People don't have as much income. The free government money has stopped being just, dispensed in droves. And it's kind of a lot of things that are all happening or stopping at the same time that I think is fundamentally having an effect. And we're just also in a global slowdown, with COVID and the supply chain, Ukraine, and, just all kinds of different things happening right now. I think there's just everything was artificially going up for a while. And I think now, again, it's kind of just correcting, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But being well positioned in all environments is really the key, and you can actually take advantage and have some great opportunities in the midst of crisis if you're well positioned.
Now, I think what you said is very important because whether it's finances or whether it's whatever your dream or your goal is, being well positioned is very, very key to any type of vision. Carly, what would you say in the social media world? How can you position yourself every day, social media wise, to take advantage of opportunities?
What a great segue you just did there. That
You
was a
see how good I am
transition.
at this? You see the
Yeah.
talent involved with the whole segueing and moving.
Nathaniel is out of the job. I think you're the host.
I'm sorry, Nathaniel who is a big question
Right.
mark. I have.
Right.
You need you on the other side of the camera more often, Butch.
Yeah. To be on like keeping it trendy and with trending things all the time, I think was your question. You have to I always like to read blogs, articles, stay up to date with like content creation accounts because they teach you the latest things that are happening. Also, Instagram releases a lot of like algorithm updates that you should read and stay in tune with because they're changing their algorithm all the time. So, in terms of like, should you be doing a carousel post
Now,
versus more?
let's hold right there for 1 second. What you just said is very good because I have an Instagram. By the way, all you Vision Possible people out there that are watching, thank you for joining us. If you don't follow my Instagram, please do. But my Instagram has been stuck at 155,000 followers for at least a year. It hasn't 155,000.
And mine's been stuck at 20K.
Hasn't moved. And Carly, I post at least once a day on there every day. I do have a little bit of notoriety because I have fan base and all that fun stuff. But what is an explanation for that, do you think?
Instagram needs to be a place for your 1,000 true fans. So it's so crazy. It depends on what you want.
Write that down, people. Your 1,000 true fans. Very good.
If you want engagement and like just a famous account as your like goal, or if you want like just getting conversions and actual people that are true fans of yours, then you have to really adjust your strategy accordingly. I'm a fan of the 1,000 true fans because they're always going to be there for you and always be reliable and buy all your things, support all your things. And that's what I think that you have, Dad, on your account. But also, it's just really hard to grow on Instagram right now. I just had a conference last weekend, and my friend who spoke at it was like a massive, amazing Instagram growth business, and she absolutely like slayed it back in the day when you could grow easily on Instagram, and you cannot do that anymore. She had to reposition her business to actually like shift from her entire sole focus of growth to like this other way, like
so Instagram basically is not the only game in town anymore, is what you're saying. It's like Instagram is Instagram like forget it altogether, or do we keep it as like part of our recipe on our plate, like our dinner plate? We have Instagram.
You need to keep it, but you need to switch up your strategy because it gets too familiar, and Instagram like can read your mind and like think you're predictable. So if you do a lot of posts all the time, try Reels, try Instagram Lives. Like it wants you to use the features that it offers.
I need to do more lives, actually. I don't do a lot of lives at all because I just don't have time. I always just post stuff. I think lives is
Yeah.
Hey, okay, a couple comments here. Living Blue Jay says, it's funny since Ryan was jokingly fired during the last stream, yet Nathaniel isn't here this time. So that's good.
Hilarious. Yeah,
that.
you remembered that well.
And here's something from Hannah Yang. I have a question. I started a blog last week. I need tips on how to promote, get readers to like and comment, and find things to write. Carly, what do you think of that?
Did. I have seen the beginning of it, and I'm so proud of you, Hannah. I'll brag on her for a second. She messaged me on Instagram about where to build her blog, and I said, use the certain software. And she literally comes back in 30 minutes and goes, check out my blog. And I was like, oh, you did it in 30 minutes. That's amazing. So she's crushing it, and you're already doing a good job, Hannah. You've been posting when you post a blog post on your Instagram, and it's going so well. That's exactly how to keep growing it. You have to build an email list. So incorporate that on your website as well. And you're going to eventually want to probably go to WordPress too. That's like really good for monetizing blogs. I was like kind of checking that message in passing, and I said Wix.com, which is so great too. And you can monetize on there as well. But as you grow, you're probably going to want to move over to WordPress. But all that to say, build an email list. Also share on your email list when you post, just like you do on your Instagram, so that more people can see it and be there right away when you post the next time.
I want to also say, if the audience here will write in more questions that we can answer, I will show you the drawing I'm working on at the end of the broadcast. I have a drawing sitting right here. It's off camera. If you want to see it, I will show it to you if you guys write in some more questions. So here's another question from Allison. Hey, Butch, my dream is to become like you, writing, storyboarding, and directing my own shows. That's quite a lot to do right there. First of all, good goals to have. I'm going into art college, but what's a good way to start pursuing my dream? Wow. Great question. Several questions I have for you is, how old are you? Number one. You say you're going into art college. So right there, your first couple of years are already taken up with college. So you're going to go into college. So I would just recommend, if you're going to be in college, learn as much as you can there, but don't let college be your only source of learning. Watch live streams like this. Watch anything you can get your hands on, whether someone like me or whoever you want to follow, Orion, Julianne Hartman, we'll get to in a second, a Carly Hartman. Who do you want to follow? What do you want to be like? Follow what they do and see what they do. But college is a great place to learn, but it's not the only place to learn. There's other things you can do as well. And by the way, once college is done, what is your plan day one after college? You're going to take 6 months off. You can take 3 months off. You're going to try and get a job the next day. You really need to find out what the hiring requirements are for the job you want. Whatever cartoon you want to work on, whatever studio, find out what they require, and I would look into that. All right, Julianne Hartman.
Yes.
How are you?
Doing good. How's everybody else doing?
Good. Now, Julianne, what have you been working on this month? People want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Give us a rundown of what you do on a daily basis.
Oh, well, the first thing is that we have a cartoon that we are producing, my husband and I. So I'm doing a lot with that. I do the contracts. I do the onboarding. I work with the investors.
What is onboarding?
Onboarding means bringing employees on, filling out all the the paperwork and everything needs to be done, telling them, kind of how we do things and the scheduling their payments and all that stuff.
Now, is that something that you ever thought you'd be doing?
No, but I've done a little bit of everything that I do now, kind of in all different ways. Like, I've done payroll before, but that was for something else, but not the way that I'm doing it now, because now I'm one of the executive producers, and so it's a little different. But also just working on 2 shows. Another one that's a live action. The first one was a cartoon. Second one's a live action show. So scheduling all, the shoot dates and getting all the crew and all that stuff there too. So that's a lot. That's very time consuming as well. Plus I have a whole healing platform on YouTube called Healing Journeys Today. And it's really exciting because lots of great things are happening. We just did a conference in North Carolina. So, but the biggest thing, the best job ever, if you want to even call it a job, was to be married to Butch Hartman for 30 years.
Wow.
Yes. The best job ever.
Didn't even tell her to say that.
Yeah. And then of course the second best was to have our daughters, Carly, as you see, and Sophia. And so, so just, doing everything that I can to help people in any way possible. That's my dream every single day.
Well, what's cool about that vision, though, Julianne, I mean, it's interesting. It wasn't, by the way, my best job is being married to you for 30 years, too. See, I'm seeing the same thing. But you never thought you'd ever be executive producing a cartoon show, did you?
No, you're absolutely right.
Wildest dreams, did you?
Yeah. I didn't know anything about cartoons, didn't really care about cartoons.
Very few people do.
I wasn't raised a geek like you were. And so I really didn't know. I'm kidding. I really never had a desire
I
to
am a
watch
geek
cartoons till I met you.
That's right.
Wow.
Here we go. Hey, Carly, here's another question for you. Thank you, Julianne. Someone says, you mentioned that you told Hannah which software to use. As someone who's aspiring to start a blog, what are your recommendations? From Catherine.
For the bloggers out there, if you're only going to blog, WordPress is the best option. Wix.com is also the best for website building. You can also have a great blog on there too. You can monetize on there as well, but WordPress is easier to monetize on. So just kind of do research on both of those and see what best fits your needs.
Cool. Another question for you here, Carly. Let me go back here.
Wow, a popular marketing night.
I know. Someone named Clever. He must be very clever. Oh, it's for me, actually. Sorry. Well, hang on with that. Question for Butch Hartman. Since Carly talked about pros and cons about social media, can you tell us pros and cons about animation? Okay, sorry. I thought it was for you. It is for me. Also, thanks for reposting my Instagram drawings. Dude, you're welcome. If I'm reposting your drawings, you must be pretty awesome. Especially if you draw my stuff. If anyone out there redraws my stuff, I always repost it on Instagram. So you're welcome. And Clever, it's nice to meet you. You look kind of young to me if that's your real photo. You look like I don't know how old you are, but you're already a smart dude. What are some pros and cons about animation? Number one, like Julianne said, very few people care about it. Some people do. But I mean, let's compare animation to sports. Okay. Sports seems like the entire planet Earth does sports because everybody can play sports, at least when you're a little kid. You can throw a ball, you can kick, you might not be good at it. At least you can get out in the street and run around. Not everybody is excited to pick up a pencil and start drawing something. Not everybody does that, nor do they want to stick with it, especially if it's a struggle. So that's one of the cons. But one of the cool pros is it's like you're a superhero sometimes when no one else can draw and you're in a room and you can draw stuff. It kind of amazes people. It's like playing a musical instrument in a way. So that's one cool pro. Another pro is that you can actually make a good living at it. Another pro, you get to entertain people. So that's all really cool too. Hey, so let me see another. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. Let's see who wants to take this one. Let's try Ryan first. What's a good way to open up doors? What kind of things really impress people? I find voice acting really cool and I can impress anyone I meet, but I find getting in the right circle challenging. We can all answer this question. Ryan, 30 seconds. What's a good way to open up doors?
I think just showing people value in an area that you have some kind of expertise in, and or being willing to just serve them and try to help them solve a problem, whether or not you're getting paid for it, whether or not it's advancing you directly. Like today, I just had a conversation with my sister's friend who I don't know if he's going to be a client or not, but I was just happy to help him in an area that I'm passionate about and have a unique equipping for, which is finances. And he was really appreciative of that. And again, I don't know if that's ever going to become a business opportunity, but it's just a way to add value to people's lives, give them some helpful advice. And I find that tends to come back around and people really appreciate that heart when they can see that you're in it for the right reasons.
Totally. Julianne, what do you think? Great answer, Ryan. Thank you. Julianne, how about you? How do you open up doors?
Well, I really do agree with what Ryan just said, because how do you open up doors? Well, first of all, you got to find out who are the gatekeepers, who's the doorkeeper. Find out who they are so that you can get in with them and get doors open that way. But I will tell you, your talent will also open up doors for you, and your hunger for wanting to do something like this. It really does help when you are when you've got such a goal that you've written down, and you need it, and you want it more than anything. And so when you make that list of the things that goals and maybe even dates where you want to attain certain things, when you stick to that goal every day, you've got something that's driving you. A lot of times we just kind of go, well, when it happens, it happens. But that's not a really good goal. I think you need to put a date on it and say, I'm going to do this, this, and that on these dates, because that's what's going to give you that sense of urgency to get in there and start doing something instead of talking about it. So get with the gatekeepers, the doorkeepers, and to keep your strategy going of how you're going to do it. And just, you've got to keep at it every single day. You cannot let a day go by that you don't work towards it.
All right. Very good. Carly, how about you? 30 seconds. What's a good way to open up doors?
I think when you start activating with your words, I am going to be a business owner. I'm going to be a voice actor. Voice acting gigs just flock to me and they're magnetized to me. Just literally speaking out, because faith comes by hearing. And so I believe that also when you put one step out there into action, you're creating movement for the dream. So you have to take a step and you have to start speaking over what it is you want to design the life that you want. So I believe that's how we open up doors, is because we are just actively going in the direction we want to go. And we're speaking it, believing it, and chasing after it with physical steps that we're taking towards the goal.
Very cool. And what I would say, part of your question here, Tommy, I love this name, Tommy the Shimigami. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I find getting into the right circle challenging. Well, let me explain. You're always going to find it challenging to get into the right circle. That's because there's so many wrong circles out there. But you're not going to know what circle to be in until you get out there more and start meeting people and really putting yourself in a place where these people are. Because let me explain one other thing. Every vision you have, every goal you have is going to have people involved. It's going to have other people involved. It's very rare you can sit at home by yourself and do exactly what you want to do and make a living at it and be happy. I know it can happen. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things you're going to need people for. So get used to being with people and having them part of your life. Here we go. One for me saying this might be a Carly question, or this might be anybody. We'll start with Carly. Alexandra N. I think it's Alexandra Nelson, our friend, or it might be a different one.
Hi, Alexandra.
If it is Alexandra, our friend, hello. We'll make a new
Yes,
friend.
it is, Alex.
If I were to pay for ads for my work, this would be Carly. What platform would be best? And also, how many dollars should I start out with? Carly Hartman.
It depends on your work. I believe you are doing tons of amazing art. And so Facebook ads are the best ads. And there's also so much to ads. It can't even begin to explain. There's like awareness, consideration, and conversion ads. Like you could do a ton. And so I don't want you to waste your money. So either find a specialist that knows what they're doing to ask them questions, watch YouTube videos to learn how to do it yourself, because Facebook will take your money and literally give you no results if you do it the wrong way. And it's really hard to figure out.
Are you telling me Facebook would just take your money with no explanation?
Yes. So you want to do it right, because I've experienced many people in my life that lose so much money because they just clicked a few buttons, thought that would do it. So just make sure you do your research, but also TikTok might be good too, ads for you if that's like what you want to do with more like brand awareness stuff. So it just depends on your goals. And then Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are the best places to do your ads. And I'd recommend, like for small businesses, I would say $1,000 for the first month. But if you don't have that kind of budget, then I'd recommend like at least $100 to $500.
Yeah. By the way, that is Alexandra N., our good friend and the girl we love. So hello, Alexandra.
Yes, hello.
Hannah Yang says something here very smart. I choose Wix because it was free. That's a great way to start.
Yes, amazing.
Smart. I have some questions here that were sent in before the live, and here we go. Let me see. Ryan, I don't make a lot of money, but what are some ways I could begin investing?
Well, I think the first thing is investing in education and feeling that you can surround yourself with people who know what they're talking about, whether that's just reading books, listening to podcasts, attending things like this. That is definitely the first thing that you can invest in at a relatively low dollar amount, because if you don't know the skills of investing, if you don't have the mindset, then any money you put in could be at risk and you might be worse off. So that's the very first investment, and that's a relatively low cost investment. And then as you get more knowledge, experience, connections, and mentors, and once you have some more money, some extra capital that you can invest, you'll have a good idea of where to put it. But it really does start with that initial just seeking knowledge, getting educated, and surrounding yourself with people who have experience. And I would say if you want to take advice from someone, it should probably be someone who's actively doing what you want to be doing, who's already demonstrated success in the area that you're taking their advice from. That's again why we all do this here. We've got, passion and vision, and we're actually in the process of living that out. So hopefully, you're getting a source of a credible mentor or advice from the person that you're speaking with. But I also encourage people to get a variety of perspectives, even if they conflict. I think that's really important. I think a big part of investing is being willing and able to take multiple different perspectives and kind of, for instance, if I have an idea that I think is a good idea, I will intentionally try to come up with every reason it's a bad idea and stress test it. And if I can't kill the idea, then I know that I can move forward, firmly planted with both feet. But that takes a while of going back and forth. So seek a variety of counselors and invest in yourself in knowledge and education, and then be doing something, whether it's finding a job, some kind of side hustle. As I've said before on this Q&A, in order to invest money, you first have to have money. So, that would be something to be working towards as you're researching and developing your education.
And a lot of people I know that invest in anything, they find the money somehow. They either have it on their own or they borrow it from friends and family, or there's all kinds of ways. But everybody, I even go back to success stories of yesteryear, like the people that founded like Taco Bell or the people that founded whatever big company you've heard of. It all starts with a small loan from somebody. So money comes from somewhere. And everyone, if you're serious, you can find it. It is work, but you can find it. Hey, good answer, Ryan. Okay, one sec. Let me see. There was a question here for Hannah. Oh, wait. Hannah said, oh, Carly, how do I build an email list?
You need to build a lead magnet. So for your blog, though, you can just put a simple subscription form on your blog and people will just sign up and say, sign up for my newsletter. And then like monthly or weekly, whenever you post, you can just say, sign up for my weekly newsletter or daily or whenever you're going to send out a new blog. So that's how you can build it for your blog, but you can also
Give
build
people a reason to want to come back to your blog.
Yeah,
Like,
say like what they're going to sign up for. But you can do that through like MailChimp and integrate it into Wix, or Wix just has a subscriber form on there easily. But also when it comes to a lead magnet, like an actual marketing strategy behind your blog for one day when you want to do that, you're going to have to make a lead magnet that's like a PDF or a guide or a video or something you can offer for free that is valuable to exchange someone's personal information, their email, of value to them for something valuable that you have to offer. So that's how you can build an email list that way. And then make sure you build an email journey to attach that to nurture those people for later.
She says, you got to teach me LOL. Here's a question from Tony Oni Savage, who we see on here all the time. Hello, Tony Oni. I'm looking into applying to an online education program out of state. Just take creative writing courses to pursue my dream. That's awesome. And like Ryan said earlier, and I will say as well, any education you can find toward your dream is great. But I'm still in college without a bachelor's. Should I wait? Any advice? I want to ask you this question. Why are you getting a bachelor's? I'm not against you getting a bachelor's, but to be a writer, you don't need a bachelor's degree. If you're going to be a screenwriter or a novel writer, I don't necessarily know about other forms of writing, if you need a degree or not. All I know is I didn't need a degree to start doing what I did. I thought I did, but I didn't. I saved myself a lot of debt by not going the many years of college. I just got a job in the field I loved. I got a low-level job. I had to learn, but I got a job. So I'd recommend, if you're talented, get out there and try and get a job doing what you love now. The bachelor's will come later. If the bachelor's is important to you, by all means pursue it. But creative jobs don't necessarily require a degree, is all I'm saying to you. So that's up to you.
I don't have a degree and I've done marketing for 10 years.
Neither do I.
Yeah, Ryan probably does because he's smarter than all of us. But
yes, that is true.
We don't have degrees. I don't have it. I know you guys don't have degrees either. So you don't
technically. Butch Hartman stopped college and started working. And
I did.
You know who else did that?
Who?
Bill Gates. Steve Jobs. List goes on, right? I love higher education, and I've done a lot of it, and I think it can benefit in certain cases. But just purely from a financial point of view, unless you have a very specific track, like a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, something like that, I don't necessarily think it's the financial value proposition it once was.
I agree.
Real world experience. I'm not against the college education, but if you're saddling yourself with all kinds of student debt and it never really pays off, then you got to ask what was the point of that. So I think getting a real life education, I'm becoming more and more a fan of.
I know a lot of people that went to college for 4 years for A, and then they realized they hated A, and then they got out of college and started doing Starbucks or something like that, where they didn't even go get a job in what they'd gone to college for. And and again, this happens all the time. Doesn't always happen, but really think about that degree and see if the field that you're going into really requires that. Okay.
Hey, visionaries, I'm so sorry I have to go, but thank you for having me.
Give it up for Carly Hartman, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. Look at this. Now we have a 3. Okay, let me rearrange my grid. Oh, you guys are too small over there. I'm rearranging the grid here. We'll do the 3-way grid like that. We'll be like Charlie's Angels. Okay, there we go. Let me see. Let me lose this question.
Well, let me just say this. All the information that Carly just gave out was worth a lot of money.
was.
She gave out some valuable information. So that's really great.
Guys, keep asking your questions. It really fuels the entire live stream. I want to hear from you. Here's a question from Tommy the Shimigami again. Butch Hartman, did you have any approaches to how you came up with ideas for episodes for your shows? Wow, that's a very long answer. However, if the specific question is how you come up with ideas for episodes, yeah. When you have signed a contract with a giant studio like Nickelodeon that says, the contract says, in 18 months, I'll give you 20 half hours of entertainment. And each one of those half hours has 2 stories in it, 1, 2. And you have to, each story has a beginning, middle, and an end. And you've got 18 months to do it. Sounds like a long time. It's really not a long time. You've got to write those stories, make sure they work in order to, and then you have to not only storyboard them, get them voice recorded, draw them, color them, animate them, edit them, put music on them, one after the other for 18 months. You have got to live up to that contract because word gets around that you're someone who can't deliver the goods, but you have to be able to deliver the goods. So what you do to come up with episodes, you have a team of writers. And how do you do that? You have to find writers, to hire them. You start off by hiring your friends. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that doesn't. Then you hire people that aren't your friends who become your friends. And you have a team of writers at all times ready to go. Every company has a team of something some people doing something because everybody can't do everything. So that's how you do that. You come up with episodes by having a team of writers and discussing. Here's another question that came in before the live stream, guys. Someone says here, both of you can take this. Does it always take money to get a vision off the ground?
Well, it takes somebody's money. Yours or someone else's.
It really does. It really takes money.
Well, it takes money, and also it's maybe an investor, so someone else's money. It really does depend on what you want to do. Like, well, for instance, how we were talking about even how to do a blog. Well, it's like, or to do Facebook ads and stuff, that costs money. To get something off, unless you're going to go to a, like some kind of a market of some sort, some outdoor market, and sell your goods at a table, that's going to cost money to do it, like a farmer's market or something. Like, it does cost money to do things. So whether you make the money yourself or you get some investors, but the bigger the vision, the more money you need to get it off the ground.
Yeah, I agree. And Ryan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, eventually I think if you're really going to move forward and scale it, absolutely. But I think there's also a lot of things you can do without spending any money on the front end, which might be a good idea to really validate that this is something you want to do. Sometimes I'll see people spend thousands of dollars on a website and all these different things. And then it turns out that either they don't have the audience that they thought they did and they spent all this money for nothing, or it turns out that they're really not that interested and passionate about it, or they don't follow up with it. So prove to yourself that you need the money and it's actually going to go towards a productive purpose first. And then, yes, eventually money will be needed. But I was even thinking earlier when you brought up another question, Butch, about something that Billy Epperhart said, and I think even maybe Jim Rohn said it previously, is that money is attracted, not pursued. Mm-hmm. And if you have a strong vision, if you have a good idea of business and investment, whatever, if it truly is worth its value, people will want to invest in it. People will see the value of that. And I think the biggest investment, again, you can make is developing yourself to get to the point where you have something of value that people want to, where that money gets attracted to it and to you. But I think there are very low cost or even free ways to get started. Like, great example, Hannah, just great job, just taking the bull by the horns and getting started. Didn't have to spend any money for Wix, for a website. Don't have to spend any money for, a WordPress blog or whatever. There's, free YouTube account. There's all kinds of things. Pretty much everything Carly said about social media, you don't have to pay for an account to get those things going. So start there and then prove to yourself that the money's actually necessary and that it'll benefit something. And eventually, as you scale it and prove value, I believe that money will be attracted to you.
Yeah, I was going to say, even when I get so many people literally every day, I want to sell my own show. I want to sell my own show. I want to sell my own show, make my own show. Well, when you're doing that, you're taking an idea to a studio and they're going to give you money to make your show. So you're still going after money, even though you want to make a cartoon show. Everything costs money to make. And we live in a world where money makes the world go round. Not that you have to love it or worship it, but you need it. It's a tool. Yeah. Money is a tool. And if you're smart about it, you can use that money to help other people. And that's the great thing that, what we want to encourage people to do here as well. Not only make money for you, but make it to help other people too. Pay somebody's tuition to school, pay somebody's rent, help them get off the ground, invest in a person, see how that goes for you. Here's a question from the amazing Alexandra. Julianne, this is for you. What are some ways effective to learn people skills? I feel like when I'm in the workplace, I don't know how to interact effectively.
That does happen a lot. I think that it's very interesting. I really study people.
I know Alexandra. Alexandra is a good people person.
No, she's amazing. But I'm like a people watcher. So I love to just sit and watch people. And I know that it probably drives Butch crazy at times, but I just like to sit and watch to see how people interact and see all that. And sometimes I'll do like little tests of things. For instance, we were in Hawaii a couple of weeks ago, and from where our room was to where the lobby was really far. And so you had to walk this long hallway. So every time I walked it, which was about 6 times a day, but I would say hello to everyone. And I would make a mental note of who could look at me in the eyes and say hello, and who would just kind of like, look down or look up right away and not respond to me. And it's really sad because the generation that looked away from me the most were the Z's, and that really broke my heart because I know that we have a Z.
Gen Z's.
Yeah, we have one, in our house, and she's not like that at all. Sophia's very outgoing, very talkative, but like I said, it's just this introverted thing that I believe has really happened. COVID did not help that. And not all the Gen Zs, but a lot of them are like that. And believe me, there's other people too that do that too. But I know
examples in every generation.
Right. Exactly. But I noticed more with that, that Gen Z generation. So anyway, I just feel this way. Like, who cares? Say hello to somebody, right? You never know what someone is walking around with. You don't know if they just lost a family member, or they just won the lottery, or
they may have your answer. They might have
or they might have just lost a job, and just having a really bad day. But to look away and not say hello to somebody, I think is very sad. It's a tragedy, and that's where I believe, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff with the pandemic and all that made people not want to be around people, not want to greet them. And but I would just say, in spite of what you might feel, just say hello to people. Open up a door for somebody. Tell someone to have a nice day. That opens up a conversation. But the more you do it, the easier it's going to be. And there's still people, that you might say something to them and they give you that look, and in your mind you're going, oh boy, I should have never said hello because they're really rejecting me right now. Don't worry about rejection. They're not rejecting you. It's just something on the inside of them just can't respond because they're having a bad day or something tragic has just happened. That doesn't keep you from being open in your heart of loving people and just wanting to say hello and have a great day.
Ryan, what do you think about people skills? How do you interact with people in a better way?
I think being around them, first of all, is kind of important, right? So if you're spending all day inside your house or online, I mean, you can be with people online through Zoom. Obviously, the pandemic has taught us that, but I think there's no replacement for actual in-person interaction.
Yeah.
And especially these days, as we're becoming more comfortable in remote work and Zoom and all these things are becoming a lot more of a standard in the culture. That's great. I think that's amazing. It's been a huge blessing in a lot of ways, but I think you still need to have, for your own just personal and mental health, good in-person interactions with people. But then you also catch a lot more of the subtle nuances that are lost through other communication mediums, even over Zoom, is being with people in person. There's, catching up on body language, knowing how to, position your body language. There's, like I think they say 70% of communication is nonverbal, and a lot of that, the nuances are caught in person. So spend time getting comfortable around people in person. And I think that's going to help a lot. And then, if it comes to public speaking or you're shy and you don't feel confident, there's a lot of, very low cost ways like Toastmasters and other things like that to be able to.
Toastmasters. Wow.
Yeah, I did that.
If you're 80. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, it was great. I did it for just until I moved to Denver, actually, and I'm looking at maybe getting back into it. But
I've heard of it. I've never been in Toastmasters. That's like a group where you learn how to have manners, basically, right?
Well, it's public speaking.
Public speaking.
It's specifically public speaking. And I mean,
Cool.
you'll learn leadership and some other skills too, but it's mainly, learning how to develop your public speaking skills.
Here's a question for Julianne from Hannah Yang. Question for Julianne. How did you know that you were ready to start your show, Healing Journeys, today? Because I adore catching up with you and Butch weekly. Thank you, Hannah. What do you think, Julianne? How'd you know you were ready to start? Or did you know, just get right into it?
Well, I'll tell you, Hannah, I really didn't even know. We were doing live conferences when COVID hit, and I didn't know what to do. And literally a girlfriend just kind of threw it out there as she was walking by me. She was making us burritos one night, and she literally just goes, "Oh, just do it online," and walks back in her kitchen. And I'm like, "Do it online?" And I'm thinking, how do you do that? How do you take that conference and do it online? Obviously, Zoom and all that was not where it was, where it is now back then. And so I just thought about it. I took it to the Lord in my prayer, and I said, "God, show me how to do it." And he gave me the direction. He showed me how to do it. He told me who to contact to, my speakers. And our daughter, Sophia, had lost 2 jobs right when COVID started. So I said, "Hey, do you want to do this? Like, I don't know what it's going to look like yet," but she said, "Absolutely." So she came to work for us, and here we are 2.5 years later, and the platform is huge, and it's going strong, and it's changing people's lives all over the world. And I can't even tell you how exciting that is.
All right. It's amazing, and I'm very proud of you. Here's one I'm going to answer. And you can all jump in on this, but I'll start. Speaking of which, are there a couple ways to get or meet an investor to invest in you, whether in person or online? Well, yeah. I mean, people get online investors all the time. They have things called Kickstarters or crowdfunding. That's a way to get people to invest. Or another way is to get to meet people and form relationships with them. And every investor, Julianne and I've ever had, started with a relationship first. In fact, one cardinal rule we've learned is you never ask anyone for money. You don't go up the first moment you meet them and go, "Hey, could you give me?" Don't ever do that. That's a cardinal sin. Only because it just doesn't sound right, makes you sound desperate, it's very unprofessional. Once you usually form relationships with people, and by the way, don't even go after their investment. Go after them as a friend first. You want to make friends with people.
Yeah, because you don't want an investor. You don't want an investor that you don't like or you can't even get along with. Like you don't need.
There are events. Okay, one sec. There are events you can go to that are specifically designed to meet investors. You're walking right in, and everyone's got a mindset for investment. So there's those too. But go ahead, Julianne, continue.
Well, I'm just saying that, when you have somebody invest in something that you're doing, you're kind of married to them for the life of the project. Mm-hmm. So unless you put something else in your contract, however long the life of that contract, you will be, as they say, in bed with that investor. You want to know them. You want to like them. You want to enjoy being with them, because you're going to not just make them money or yourself money, you're going to make them money. And you want to be able to have a relationship so that you can talk about things and not be, afraid to talk to them, and be able to dream together and, strategize together and all that. So, I mean,
there's an investor.
It's a friendship. So that's what you really want to go for. So whether you go to some of these different events where you meet them, you're kind of interviewing them as well. Don't take it as like, well, they've got all this money and I've got to kiss their butt so that I get them to give some of their money to me. No, don't do that, because you're going to have money at some point if your project is good. Now you're stuck with someone you didn't even like, but you were desperate, right? You got desperate, so you just took anybody. And now you don't like who your investor is. So have a relationship. It's really important, because, it's like we pick our friends. Why can't we pick our investors?
Most of our investors that we have, that we've dealt with, are dear friends of ours now. I mean, like real friends. Like we could call them up for any reason. Then they were friends first before they became investors too. Now, since then, we've met other people that were just straight up investors who we are becoming friends with. But we started by having friends first. And you know what? You've also got to get to a place where you're good at talking to people. And we keep going back to this. Get out of your house, get out of your situation. I had an individual years and years ago. It's interesting, when I was selling shows at Nickelodeon, suddenly everybody I knew thought it'd be easy to sell shows at Nickelodeon. So I had a friend of mine go, "Hey, could you pitch this idea for me to Nickelodeon?" I said, "Well, why can't you come out here?" And this person lived back east. I go, "Why can't you come out here and pitch it?" "Well, I can't afford to come out." And in my head, I went, "Well, that's silly. It doesn't cost that much to come out here, but okay, I'll pitch it for you." So I pitched the show for them out of courtesy as a friend. It didn't sell, but it was a real lesson to me. Like, this person wouldn't even get on an airplane and come out here themselves. They wouldn't even spend the time or the money to come out. They invested nothing. They gave me the idea to go pitch for them. You know what I mean? It was very lackluster. There was nothing invested. There was no skin in the game for them, really. So learn that too. Hannah Yang says, "I think we need to make our dreams possible, because if you want to be a better human, you need to share your experiences. And that's why I keep trying to be a better me." That's beautiful. That's wonderful, Hannah. Here's another one, Julianne. "Hi, Butch. Ara here. My buddy Ara. Hope you and Julianne are well. Any tips on overcoming work pressure bearing down on you at times?" We're all going to answer this one.
Pray.
I've been through it before and see my parents going through it now. Any advice? Wow. Work and pressure. Well, Julianne's answer is pray, and that's a great one. Prayer is good.
Well, for me, the Bible tells me to cast my care. Now, I'm not saying that I don't sometimes immediately react to the situation, but I know that, for me being a Christian, he says that he wants to be the Lord over my whole life. So I've not just the parts of life I want to give him. And the only way for me to keep in that perfect peace is to have him, for me to give him all of the stuff. And let me tell you, you can wake up every morning and it can hit you in the face really hard. All the things that you maybe don't have going on, or the many things that you do have going on. But you have a decision to make. You have a choice to make at that moment to say, I'm going to worship right now. I'm going to praise the Lord. I'm going to thank him for everything that I've got in my life that he's ever done for me, just keeping me alive or whatever it is. You can make that choice to do that. I will guarantee you that if you start your day off with that choice as number one, your day is going to go a lot better. We have many chances all day long to be stressed out and nervous and, full of anxiety of all the things that are going on in our lives and all the things going on in the world. Things are changing so much, like even Ryan was talking about how the market is changing and all that. And so people might have had a lot of investment into Twitter or Disney, and now they've got nothing. Like, there's all kinds of things going on. But if you make God, you make money your God, you're in trouble. You make your business your God, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. Anything that exalts itself against the Lord is a problem for us Christians. And so we've got to keep our mind stayed on the things that he's provided and keep ourselves in that perfect peace.
Ryan, what do you say? That was a great answer, Julianne. What do you think, Ryan? Work pressure, how do you deal with that?
Well, I can certainly relate. I've had a lot of that through my life. And, I actually even wrote a book about this very subject.
What's it called, Ryan?
It is called A Better Way. God's designed for less stress, more rest, and greater success. And that is not
out on the interweb, everybody.
Yeah. So I certainly can relate to that. But I think, like Julianne said, keeping your perspective on the Lord, and also just taking time to kind of get away from the issue, the problem. Sometimes we can get so focused in on something that we just get so riled up. It's like the hamster in the wheel, just furiously moving around, but not getting anywhere. Sometimes by just taking yourself away from it and giving yourself some space, taking a walk, doing something else, sometimes your mind will creatively work on those situations and those solutions in the background. I've had that happen several times. And then I think also a big part of it is, my job to a lot of people would probably be very stressful, very pressurized and overwhelming. But because it's what I love doing, what I'm naturally gifted to do, it doesn't feel like work to me. It's an invigorating challenge. Are there aspects to it that are tedious, like some of the administration and paperwork and other things? Yes. But I never feel overwhelmed in what I do. I feel excited to dig into it because I'm in what I call my sweet spot. Now it takes a while to get to that point, but when you can find that place that's, your natural gifting, your strength, your passion, and you're able to serve and add value to people's lives, then it takes a lot of the pressure out of it. And what used to be work now doesn't feel like work, and it's still very productive.
Yeah.
That's good. I find with pressure, that like Ryan said, if it's something that you love, yeah, there's pressure, but you still love it so much that you'll do it no matter what. We all have something that we love and we'll do it without even being asked, But there are work pressures that come, and they do come a lot. There's always money. There's this. Like Julianne said, though, when you make that the biggest thing in your life, and don't get me wrong, jobs are important. They're really most of our life. We spend a lot of our life working a job. What is most important to you? Is it the pressure of the job or the pressure of the dream? Like, is your job your dream right now? Sometimes you got to stop what you're doing to take the pressure off, because sometimes that pressure comes out of fear. The fear is what drives the pressure, because fear is faith in negativity. And you're like, oh my gosh, we all get overwhelmed, we get scared, and that can really drive us nuts if we're not careful. So you got to know where your hope comes from, as opposed to where the fear is coming from. Let me see here. A couple things. Analog Kid, what a great guy. He says, oh, great answer, Priz. Always a great help. Thank you so much for that. You're welcome, buddy. Guys, we're coming up in the end. We got about 8 minutes left. I can ask one more question, and then we'll have final thoughts. Here's a good one for both of you, for all of us, actually. How many years should I give my dream? Julianne, start. Make it like a 1 minute answer. How many years should I give my dream?
I wouldn't put a time limit on your dream, because you know what? The show that we're doing right now, that we're making, the very first time Butch drew a drawing of it was back like in 2003 or 4, something like that. That didn't mean that it was going to get done right then. It was just an idea in his mind, and started, drawing it, doodling it, basically. We made episodes of that show back in 2015, and we didn't do anything with it. So what we're going to do, put a time limit on it and say, well, in 2019, if you hadn't done anything with it yet, why didn't you put it down? Well, now, we're in full production, and it's a huge project. So, something that you birthed that came from the inside of you, do you really want to put a time limit on it? Sometimes there's a time to create it. And then there's the go button that, I feel that when you're ready, then you will put it out on the market. But maybe it's not ready right away. Maybe it is ready right away. Like, it just depends on what your project is. For us, it was not that way. It's always been preparation. Times change. The markets change. The social media has changed. It's like, 3 years ago, what was TikTok? Was TikTok around 3 years ago?
Yeah, but more like 6-7 years ago. Okay. What was TikTok? Yeah.
Well, it really wasn't that big, 3 years ago, but 6 years ago, what's TikTok? It's like, are those things that you get in a little dispenser and you chew? Like, who knew what that was? But now you can do so much on TikTok. So there's so many things that we can do. Like, for instance, Oaxis, our platform, our content platform.
Platform, yes.
Yes, when we first thought about doing it, there was not the creativity in platforms as they are today, right? They didn't have the kind of technology that they do today. So things have changed. Things have even changed since last year with that. So I'm actually thankful that we did not launch anything, because it would have cost us a fortune based on how much it costs now to put a platform up. So don't worry about the timing. You're working on it every day. If you're getting bored with it, then it's not the thing that came from your heart. It came from somebody else.
Good. Ryan, what do you think? Real quick answer here. Should you put a time limit on your dream?
No, I think, like Julianne said, sometimes it can be decades in the making. But I know for me, I was really passionate about finding what my passion was, what my sweet spot was. And it took, I first started, consciously thinking about that back in 2010, 2011. So it's taken over a decade, and I wouldn't even say I fully arrived yet, but it's if it's worth pursuing, it's, you know, it's worth pursuing for many years, but that doesn't mean you have to wait to do anything. You can be working on pieces of it here and there. And I think the biggest thing is kind of dovetailing off that last comment of Julianne is, if it truly is from your heart and from inside of you and something that you were created on this earth to put out there, you almost can't get away from it as long as you don't let your heart get sick and you don't give up. It's something that will keep bubbling up over and over. It will almost pursue you. And eventually, if you continue to be intentional and partner with that, then it will manifest.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have 4 minutes left, and I think it's been a great live stream so far. We had a great audience today, and I'm so grateful for all of your questions, guys. Again, if you guys want any more information, go to visionpossible.net, and you can get in contact with Brian personally, Julianne personally, me personally, Carly personally, or Nathaniel, who couldn't make it today, but Nathaniel as well, Nathaniel Spears. We are available for private coaching and private interactions with you. Definitely reach out to us. We'd love to be involved in your vision and your dream. But again, it is an investment, guys. We don't do it for free, but it is an investment, and it's investing in your time. You know, if you have skin in the game, you're more likely to follow up. Like if you're paying Ryan a small fee to have him help you, you're going to follow up on those lessons. You're going to listen more. You're going to pay more attention because, you know, we all want stuff for free, but when we get it for free, we don't really value it as much. It's so interesting.
We don't.
Yeah.
That's like a human thing with us for some reason.
No, it's an interesting psychological fact. It's like, you know, when you pay for it, you're into it, man. You'll invest more.
When I was young and I got my first car, my dad said he would buy me my first car because just because, you know, I was turning, you know, 17 or 16, and he actually was sick of driving me around. So I'm sure that was one of the reasons why he bought me the car. But he said he would never buy me another one because he wanted to watch me and how I treated my car. Right. Well, at 16, I didn't treat it right. It was dirty all the time. It was, you know, I didn't keep up the maintenance and all that stuff. So he said, I'll never buy you another car because you didn't appreciate the one that I gave you. I'll never give you something like that again because there was no value to it for you. And I was like, wow, he was right. Because now, you know, fast forward, cars I started buying myself, I'm like, nobody can eat in my car. You know, it's like, you can't, you know, if your shoes are dirty, take them off, put them in a bag, you know, and all that stuff. So we value the things that we've worked for. And that is just a human thing for some reason on the inside of us, that when we're given things, we don't appreciate it as much. So we don't value it. We don't take care of it like we should.
Yeah. You know, Jesus says where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And we like to think it's the opposite, but he knew a thing or two about human nature. And, you know, I think he designed this that way very intentionally. So, yeah, I've done free coaching for a lot of people, and, you know, they couldn't be bothered to show up and put a skin into it. And when things got difficult or hard, it was easy for them to bail out. So it's for your benefit that you're invested in this as well. So I think three more.
So yeah, so guys, we're around visionpossible.net. You can get our book Vision Possible on Amazon. Check that out. Get Ryan's book, A Better Way. He's gonna the next one's gonna be The Super Best Way. That's a sequel he's gonna do. Get a Better Way. That's on Amazon as well. Am I right, Ryan? It's got to be on Amazon as well.
Super Best Way. All right, that'll be
The Best Way by Ryan. And Carly has a couple books as well. And Nathaniel, we've all got books out there. In fact, I've been really led to write another book, and I'm going to reveal the title of it very soon. But I got another book I'm going to be working on. Just adding to the list of things I don't have enough time for, but I'm going to make it happen. So, but guys, I'm going to make it happen because I want it to happen, and it needs to happen because I've only got a short amount of time in this world. All of us do. Why don't we want to get things done that we've got put in our hearts? You know what I'm talking about? Let's do it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, guys, here on the Vision Possible live broadcast. We'll be back next month. I think I don't even know what day next month. It's always the first week of the month that we try. We couldn't do it last week because it was the 4th of July, but here we are this week.
It's going to be actually August 1st.
August 1st?
Will be that Monday. Yep.
It's also the month of my wife's birthday, so we won't reveal her age. Oh, by the way, and the drawing I was working on, where's the drawing I was working on? Here it is. I told you I'd reveal if you guys ask questions. It's a drawing of Danny Phantom fighting Vlad Plasmius, his arch enemy. So there's the drawing. It's not done yet, but there it is. So that's
my God, how many times have you drawn that picture?
No, not that particular one. I've drawn that situation, but not that particular drawing many times. All right, guys, we love you. We're out of here. See you next week, next month on our live broadcast. But keep up with us during the month. We have an Instagram, Facebook. Keep up. We want to keep in contact with you guys. We love you. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes.